there are more people in this world that are willing to help than there are those willing to ask for it. I remember one time I was working at Crunch. I used to be a janitor, and I was cleaning the men's locker room, and there was this guy. He was kind of talking around, I think, a couple guys, and they kind of dispersed and did their thing. And I was there, and this was years ago, so I don't really understand, like, I don't really remember everything that was said and what order and stuff, but I could tell that this guy really, it's not that, that I thought that he needed advice. It's that I could tell that he needed someone to hear him out, someone that he can vent to and express what he was feeling in that moment to. So I stood there, I was probably wiping down a couple of things, looking busy, but I heard him out, and it was probably for like a good hour that we were talking. And it was a good thing because with me hearing him out, it kind of gave me perspective and helped me kind of figure things out in my situation at the time. And he was talking about how, his relationship problems and how her family didn't like him and things like that. And at the end, he said thank you, like, I said have a good day, and we went our separate ways. But I think that took a lot of courage. I think that guy really needed that, because even, I'm guilty of it too, for sure, but it can be really hard to reach out, or just to talk to anybody about your problems, even if especially to a stranger, like, so when I see stuff like that, I'm always gonna hear them out, for sure. I don't really know how I come across in my videos, but in real life, man, like, I don't go around looking for confrontation or anything like that. I don't care about any of that, tough guy bullshit. But I do believe in standing firm and not putting up with shit. So, in that moment, that guy felt like he had something to get off his chest. So, in whatever way I could, hopefully I helped the guy out. It seemed like I did. Like, he was appreciative of the fact that, we were conversing. So, just know that, man, if you ask for help, odds are people are going to help you, for sure. There's this one time, it was my first car. It was having troubles. Like, I was so bad at taking care of my car. I didn't know what I was doing. I got it with my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't know anything about maintenance. Then we split, so I had to keep up the payments, and all that's in the past. But so I was pulling up into a drive-through ATM, and my car died. And I was alone, and not even a minute later, there was a couple guys that got out of their car and helped me push it and got the tow. I called the tow truck and everything, but just even things like that, it's like, it shows you how the world is not as cold as it may seem online. It's not. Of course, there are factors. You could say it depends on what city, what country you're living in. Of course, that's definitely factors. Of course. But in my situation, living in California, America, it's not so bad. So sometimes just talking about what you're going through with someone, in that process you can start to kind of connect dots and see things clearly from a separate perspective. So do your best and know that there's people out there who want to help. Have a good day.